Do you know, it was a little bizarre the other day because I saw that a figure on the left, this entertainer James Corden, he hosts one of the late shows. James Corden is overweight. He doesn't look super healthy. And he came out and he posted a video and he said, you know, I'm going to partner with Weight Watchers now, which I think has since renamed themselves. I think they're now called WW, because these new changing standards say you're not allowed to criticize being overweight. You're not allowed to suggest that it's better to be a healthy weight than an unhealthy weight. So they changed their name, and he says, anyway, I'm going to partner with Weight Watchers because I feel unhealthy and I want to be healthier. And I felt it was so refreshing. It was so traditional. It was so sane. Take a listen.
I've realized that every year for the past decade, probably even 15 years, on January 1st, I've told myself and anyone that would listen that this is it. This is the year. I'm going on a diet. I'm going to lose a load of weight. I'm fed up with the way I look. I'm fed up with being unhealthy. And this is it. This is the year I'm doing it. And because of that, I've, over Christmas, eaten everything that's in the fridge, because in my head in January, I'm starting this diet and it'll be a success. And as you can see, well, it hasn't. And it started to get me down in a way that I've just sort of never really been able to stick to anything like that. And I think I've just probably spent a long time just accepting that this is my body and that's it. But I really am sick and tired, really, of just doing the same thing every year.
Totally understandable, totally normal feeling. I think a lot of us have felt it various times. You think, I'm not feeling good. I should do something to better myself. I'm not perfect the way that I am. None of us is. And we can always do things to maybe improve our lives and practice some virtues and exercise. Sure. Okay. So he says that therefore I'm going to go start up with Weight Watchers. But they won't use that word, weight, or that term, Weight Watchers, because there's a new standard which says, no, you don't need to be thin and healthy to be thin and healthy. No, actually, these are covers from Cosmo magazine. The cover says, this is healthy. And it's an obviously very overweight woman who's obviously not healthy. 11 women on why wellness doesn't have to be one size fits all. Now, here I guess is one of these tricks posed by political correctness. Conservatives want to be polite. If you saw either of these women on the cover of Cosmo, either of these unhealthy women who it says this is healthy, if you saw either of them on the street, would you walk up to them and say, hey, you're unhealthy, you're fat, you're unhealthy? No, nobody would do that. That's impolite. We don't want to be impolite. It is the left that is making us say things that are uncomfortable and might seem impolite, because they're not merely saying, hey, be nice to people who, have certain deficiencies or people who have certain health problems or whatever. Yeah, of course, no one needs to tell you that. They're walking up to us and they're saying, hey, 2 plus 2 equals 5, right? You need to say that 2 plus 2 equals 5. If you don't say that 2 plus 2 equals 5, you're a bigot. And we look at that and we say, look, man, I don't care, if the lady, whatever, she's got her own struggles or whatever. But 2 plus 2 does not equal 5. And that is not healthy. That is an inversion of standards. It's what political correctness always does. Because it is a purely negative movement. And I think the a men, a women thing is kind of waking some people up to this. It's a purely negative movement to overturn everything we once thought was true, to remake the world. John Kennedy popularized this phrase when he was president, and he was referring to a socialist playwright, George Bernard Shaw. And he was quoting Shaw, and Kennedy said, some people see things that are and say, why? I dream things that never were and say, why not? And his brother, Robert Kennedy, then used this phrase when he was running for president. Then after Robert Kennedy died, Ted Kennedy quoted it at Robert's funeral. And a lot of left-wing politicians have quoted this as an inspiration ever since then. And one of the funny things about Kennedy quoting literature is that John Kennedy liked to quote literature, but he never read literature. So he's always misquoting all these authors. Dante, he's misquoting Shaw. What he said, what he was quoting from Shaw is actually a scene from a play series called Back to Methuselah. And that phrase comes from the mouth of the serpent in the Garden of Eden tempting Eve. It is the words of the devil. Even Shaw is describing the words of the devil here. And the left is quoting this as some great thing. But it reminds me of Whittaker Chambers, who says communism, he's an ex-communist, and by extension, I think we could say all sort of radical leftism. It's not a new ideology. It's the second oldest alternative faith of mankind that began in the garden when the serpent said, "Ye shall be as gods." It's trying to construct a fantasy world whereby this is healthy, whereby amen who cares about the etymology of it? Who cares about what it means? It means whatever we say it means. And that nasty word man is in there. And we can't have man in there because men are bad. Because according to the new standard, men are bad, and the future is female, and there's actually no such thing as men or women. That is a totally new code. And if we think that we're going to oppose that kind of code with limp laughing and with these sort of shallow encomia to libertinism and you do you and do whatever you want, we're hoping for something that never was and never will be. No society has ever existed that way, and ours will not either. And it's why we have continued to lose. If you enjoyed that break from disinformation, historical revision, and screaming about the end of the world, be sure to hit the subscribe button so that you never miss another video.